right, shalom, shalom, Zion, shalom. And I want to wish you all a happy new moon for those who celebrate it. I'm going to give you a few minutes to come on. This is an impromptu. All right, we got a few of you on already. So go ahead and give me a one up before we get it popping up in this piece. Sound check. Give me a one up if you can hear me. All right, we are good to go. Well, hey, I pray that you all are being blessed. And as we see the coming events that are happening and the trying times that are happening, we ain't seen nothing yet, Zion. And we know that it's going to get much worse than better. So I titled this lesson, Drop It Like It's Hot, because we're going to talk about how Elijah embarrassed them boys and how the Most High dropped that fire on them. And then we're going to look at some of the trumpets because it's going to happen. It's going to happen again, but this time it's going to happen worldwide, y'all. And it ain't going to be no local event because our people are scattered to the four corners. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the scriptures. We're going to start off in 1 Kings chapter 18. So go ahead and get your Bibles out and let's get it popping. All right, give you a few seconds to get there. And I'm looking at the comments, so if I go out, just type something in there. I've been having internet issues lately for some reason. All right. So 1 Kings chapter 18 and verse 14, we're going to start with. All right, it says, and now says, go tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here, and he shall slay me. And Elijah said, as YAHUAH liveth, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself unto him this day. Verse 16. So Obadiah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah. All right, let's go down to 17. And it came to pass when Ahab saw Elijah, that Ahab said unto him, art thou he that troubleth Israel? You notice how he says that, art thou who troubleth Israel? And look what the answer says. And it says, and he answered, I have not troubled Israel, but thou and thy father's house, in that ye have forsaken the commandments of YAHUAH, and thou hast followed Baal, or as Balaam. And see, that was the problem with our people. And Ahab was wicked. He had plenty of times to repent. And his wicked wife Jezebel, who ran everything, was a testimony to his own destruction. I mean, it's crazy, y'all. All right, let's look at verse 19. It says, now therefore sin and gather. Well, let me go back up right quick because I want to explain something with Baal, because I want to show you something. Now, it says, look, it says, in that ye have forsaken the commandments of YAHUAH, and thou hast followed Baal. Now, we need to go into a deeper meaning what Baal is. So I'm going to show y'all throughout the centuries, y'all, Baal worship goes all the way back to Nimrod. And I'm going to prove that to you in the book of Joshua here in a minute. But if you look at this throughout the centuries, Baal has always been the same, but the form has always changed. Okay, you had Molech, you have all these different types of gods, that so forth that the heathens worship, also that our people joined with as well too, that required child sacrifice, that required running through fire and all that kind of stuff, and the cutting of oneself, cutting, which people still practice today, especially the heathens. You know how they take razors and they start cutting themselves, and they said it's a disease that they have. Those are satanic spirits. You know, it stems all the way back from Baal worship. Now, I'm going to show you some references that you can write down. I want you to write these scriptures down as well too. So let me show y'all something right quick and write this down. So let's look at some names, names appropriated to the principal male god of the Phoenicians. And so here's some reference scriptures, Judges 2:11. And I'm gonna leave this up here for a minute so you can write this down. And as I talk this through, it says Baal is also identified with Molech. All right. So all these different deities throughout the centuries have been adapted or associated with Baal or some form of fashion or the other. All right. Sun god worship, sun worship, same thing, y'all. So don't get it twisted. Don't get confused. All the stuff that our enemies worship and serve all stems from Baal worship. It's just different forms. You look at this current generation today, what we're living in, Christmas, you got these holidays, you got Halloween, Thanksgiving, as they call it. You have all these pagan holidays that our people are joined to. All stems from Baal worship, y'all. All of it. And that's why Deuteronomy 7:25 says specifically to burn any idols that are totally, totally outside of the Most High. Y'all hear what I'm saying? We have no business even looking upon idols. Deuteronomy 7:25 says that we were commanded to burn those idols. So look, if you got brothers and sisters, if you just now waking up into this truth and you got anything that's associated with these pagan holidays like a Christmas tree or any little statues, like I call them little niglets, those little black heads that people be having in their homes and everything, you need to burn all that stuff. Take it to a pit and burn it. If you don't have a fire pit in your backyard, take that stuff to a pit and burn the living hell out of it so it is dissolved in ashes. This is crazy, y'all. So let's go to the book of Joshua. I'll come back to that reference if you guys were still copying the scriptures. All right, so let's look at Joshua. Go ahead and turn to the book of Joshua, chapter 7, and we're going to read verses 46 and 47. And this translation is coming from the Sefer. So just so you know, for your information. All right, let me give everybody a second to get there. The book of Joshua, chapter 7, and verse 46. Let's look at this. And all the earth was of one tongue and words of union. But Nimrod did not go into the ways of YAHUAH, and he was more wicked than all the men that were before him, from the days of the flood until those days. Now get this. I want y'all to really pay close attention to this. And he made ELOHIYM, or gods, of wood and stone, and he bowed down to them, and he rebelled against YAHUAH and taught, get this, and taught all his subjects and the people of the earth his wicked ways. And Mardon, his sons, was more wicked than his father. So the point that I'm trying to get you to see here is that everything has a source. All wickedness has a source. All right. And you look at these elites. Who do you think they serve? They served all this stuff. They know this stuff stems all the way back to Nimrod. They know it. All their little child ritual sacrifices that they do. Why do you think so many kids come up missing a year? I'm talking about thousands of kids coming up missing a year. Y'all don't think y'all think that's just coincidence that these children are coming up missing every year, y'all? I mean, think about it. These practices are still going on as we speak unto this very day. And you go do your research. Of course, you're not going to see the stuff in the media. They're not going to just come out and tell you, oh yeah, we're rounding up thousands of kids a year and we're sacrificing them, because what they believe. And if y'all don't believe me, it's a documentary, but when you watch that documentary, you really got to chew the bones and spit out the meat. But in this documentary on Prime, is called Beyond Majestic. All right. The documentary is called Beyond Majestic. And they had one guy, one heathen on there. He was, this guy, he was testifying how he witnessed that they tried to get him because he got into such a high level that they wanted him to take involvement with child sacrifice. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. They ended up, eventually killing him. But when you get into high positions like that, these elites and stuff, they get into some serious crazy stuff, y'all. All right. But I'm just telling you the deal, y'all. This is no joke. And if you think that this stuff is just coincidence, then you got another thing coming. You're confused because this is what they do. This is what the elites do. This is why the elites know who we are specifically. They know in detail. Now, the mainstream white folks, they don't understand because they don't know, but that don't mean that they're not going to go guilt free. They're going to get that work. But like the Bible says in Job 9:24, the world is given into the hands of the wicked. And so we see this stuff really increasing. And now that they know that their time, or I should say, the beginning of the rise of Jacob, like it says in the Bible, they know what's happened. They know they can't stop it. And it's coming full force. All right. So now let's go back to Kings. Let's look at a few things here. All right. So let's look at verse 19. I left off in 18. So let's go to 19. It says, now therefore send and gather to me all Israel unto Mount Carmel, and the prophets of Baal 450, and the prophets of the groves 400, which eat at Jezebel's tables. And see, this is how the devil works, and our people are so doggone gullible to follow any damn thing, y'all. That's what makes me so mad about our people. We will sit there and follow anything instead of just being brave and just having the backbone and just follow the Most High and trust in the Most High. It's ridiculous, y'all. All right, so let's. So Ahab went, so Ahab sent all the children of Israel and gathered the prophets together unto Mount Carmel. All right, verse 21. And Elijah came unto all the people and said, how long halt ye between two opinions? If Yahweh be Yahweh, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. And the people answered him not a word. And that's true because throughout the Bible, what does it say? It says you cannot serve two masters, y'all. We cannot serve two masters. For those of you who are just waking up in this truth and you feel like the laws are not important and that you don't have to keep them, then you need to go back. You need to take your ass back into the Christian churches where you came out of. Because if you don't believe in the Most High, you don't believe His laws are important and that we are to keep them, then you're spinning your wheels. You're wasting your time. You can't serve two masters. You can't do it, y'all. You can't straddle the fence. Either you're gonna have to be on one side or the other. All right. And a lot of our people are straddling the fence, but it's going to come to a point where we're going to have to make a decision. People are going to have to make a choice on who they're going to follow. You know what I'm saying? And this whole vaccination thing, all these mandates, y'all, that the government was pushing out, all these mandates that all these corporations and the government has been pushing out was a test, y'all. It was a test to see how many suckers would fall for the fear factor. And many of our people fell for the fear factor. Why? Because when it comes down to it, either serve the Most High and trust in Him or your job. You see what I'm saying? And that's where the rubber's going to meet the road. And if you think this test was something, y'all, wait until the mark of the beast happens. If they were so easily to convince everybody to wear a mask, if they were so easily to convince over 90% of the US population to down this jab vaccine into their system, do you really think it's going to take much for them to accept the mark of the beast? Think about it. They sit back, these people sit back in their think tanks, and they sit back and they plan this whole stuff. They planned this stuff out 100 years prior. So y'all need to wake up and look what's going on. All right, let's look at verse 23. All right, First Kings 18:23. It says, "Let them therefore give us 2 bullocks, and let them choose 1 bullock for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under it. And I will dress the other bullock, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under it." Wow. So he's going to make sure, and I want y'all to watch what he does here. It says, "And call ye on the name of your gods." So in other words, you're gonna call on Baal, since y'all want to worship Baal, and a lot of our people are joined with wicked Ahab and his Jezebel wicked wife. Okay, y'all pray to Baal. Let's see if Baal can deliver you this day. And it says, and then he says, "And I will call on the name of YAHUAH, and YAHUAH that answers, and it says, and the God that answereth, or who answers by fire, let him be God." All right. So in other words, we're going to see if Baal has more power than YAHUAH. All right. And it says, "And all the people answered and said, It is well spoken." So they agreed. They agreed to it, realizing, not even realizing what they're getting ready to get themselves into. All right. I mean, it gets even better. And you watch, this fire is getting ready. Most High is getting ready to drop it like it's hot, y'all. Boy, let's look at the next one. All right, so 26. "And they took the bullock which was given unto them, and they dressed it, and they called on the name of Baal." Called on that old fake thing, that can't hear, smell, eat, or taste, "from morning unto noon." So they were out there pretty much all day. Says from morning even unto noon, saying, "O Baal, hear us." But there was no voice, nor any that answered. And they leaped upon the altar which was made. Now, you know how people, when they worship their false idols and stuff like that, they don't answer. They start to get more aggressive. Now, watch how aggressive they're going to start getting after this. Verse 27. "And it came to pass at noon that Elijah mocked them and said, Cry loud, for he is a God. Either he is talking, or he is pursuing, or he is in a journey, or peradventure he sleepeth and must be awakened." Now, can you imagine just the look on their faces? Elijah's sitting back laughing at them and said, "Well, come on now, where's your God? Pray harder." You know, watch this. Verse 28. "And they cried aloud and cut themselves after the manner with knives and lancets." Now, y'all got to understand the ritual behind this, because back, especially in ancient time, when people cut themselves, that was a sign of self-offering. Now, what do I mean by that? Because sacrifices, because those idols in their minds always required a sacrifice for by cutting themselves. They believe that they can get Baal's attention by spreading of the blood. And that's why that same practice is still practiced today amongst a lot of heathens. People get this spirit in them, and they start taking razors and they start cutting themselves. Y'all think y'all think that's just something new? No, this is something that's been going on for thousands of years. All right, so I'll read that again. "And they cried aloud and cut themselves after their manner with knives and lancets, till the blood gushed out." It says gushed out. It didn't say like just oozed out. It said gushed out. So y'all, they were using some serious scalpels. They was using some, what you call them, Army Swift knives and all that kind of stuff. Where they was using some serious battle axes. I mean, that stuff was crazy. Verse 29. "And it came to pass when midday was past, and they prophesied unto the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that there was neither voice nor any to answer, nor any that regarded." So all this time they're jumping up and down on altars. Doesn't that sound familiar, y'all? When y'all look at these Baptist pastors, They'd be jumping up and down the altar and everything, and be running up and down the aisles, and women passing out, casting off their wigs and rolling over like some idiots. Doesn't that sound familiar? Think about it. When you read verse 28 and 29, that's exactly what it sounds like. It sounds like these modern day black devilish Christian churches. Baal worship, y'all. And that's all these Christian churches are. These Christian churches are Baal, nothing but modified Baal worship. And I pray every day for our people. It would be amazing if the spirit just hit like 30% of our people, and our people just walked out of those churches. Those churches would shut down overnight. They would shut down overnight. Let's just okay, just to play along sake, let's just say 40% of our people walk up out of these churches and they stop going. Like right now, they just, you know what, I have enough of this. I'm not going back to these churches. Do y'all know that what it would do to these churches? And this is why these churches are getting desperate, because they're trying more methods, just like the same thing that these Baal worshipers were doing. They were jumping up and down altars. Now they went to cutting themselves. Now you got pastors, putting spit on people, falling dead just to get offerings. You see what I'm saying? You see the comparison here, and y'all see the folly that's happening. So we know that many of our people are waking up out of these churches, and they just getting tired of them. And even the ones who are not really waking up to their heritage, they're just realizing that, hey, these churches are just false. I'm not dealing with this stuff no more. And I truly believe that's the work of the Most High, because the Most High is pulling a lot of our people out of these churches. And now these churches are getting so desperate, they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff on the pulpit just to get some attention, to try to get people to stay. So let's look at verse 30. It says, and Elijah said unto all the people, come near unto me. And all the people came near unto him. It's about to go down now. It says, and he repaired the altar of YAHUAH that was broken down. Now I want y'all to watch this, because this is so significant what Elijah does next. Verse 31. And Elijah took 12 stones, according to the number of the tribes of the son of Jacob, unto whom the word of YAHUAH came, saying, Israel shall be thy name. Now we know 12 is a very significant number. 12 tribes. You got the 12 gates. Of course, 12, which is 12 sons of Jacob. I mean, 12 months. You know what I'm saying? 12 is very significant, and it's going to be here forever. All right, verse 32. And with the stones, he built an altar in the name of YAHUAH. He made a trench about the altar as great as would contain 2 measures of seed. All right. He put the wood in order and cut the bullock in pieces and laid him on the wood and said, fill 4 barrels with water and pour it on the burnt sacrifice and on the wood. Now get this, 34. And he said, do it a second time. Now, why would Elijah do this a second time? Again, you got to realize the tactics of the devil. Go read the book called Baal and the Dragon. It's in some apocryphas, but it's in the Sefer. Read Baal and the Dragon, and you'll see how like these wicked king's men were trying to be very deceitful. They were doing like little tricks to try to make it seem like their deities were alive. But Daniel fixed them up though, set them up, boy. They couldn't prove anything. Ended up destroying that old idol. So he drenched it a second time, it's to make sure, because look, Elijah says, look, I'm going to make sure you see the power of the Most High. I want to make sure you see the power of YAHUAH this day. And you're not going to have no excuses to try to say, oh, you did something, or you tried to slide something under the table. And he said, do it the third time. So a third time. And they did it the third time. All right. Verse 35. And the water ran about the altar, and he filled the trench also with water. Now, this next one is like powerful, because I'm going to show you something so simple, and you look at all those Baal worshipers and what they were doing to try to get somebody's attention or try to get their fake God's attention. All right, look at this, verse 36. And it came to pass at the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice that Elijah the prophet came near and said, Yahweh of Abraham, Isaac, and of Israel, let it be known this day that thou art Yahweh in Israel. Y'all hear that? In Israel. And that I am thy servant, and that I have done all these things at thy word. Hear me, Yahweh. Hear me, that this people may know that thou art Yahweh, and that thou hast turned their hearts back again. Man, I mean, that is powerful. Now watch this. And when Elijah said that, Elijah did not have to jump up and down. Elijah did not have to act a fool, roll on the ground, or do any kind of bodily motions or anything like that, like our stupid people do in these black wicked churches. He didn't have to cut himself or prove anything. Simple prayer. Simple prayer. Verse 38. Then fire of Yahweh fell and consumed the burnt offerings. I mean, like it just sucked all that water up, and the wood and the stone and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench. Now, if I can just paint a picture, I wish I could like paint a video picture where we could see it happening in real time. Can you just imagine the sound like a whirlwind and just zapping and just sucking everything up all at once? I mean, that would be a horrific sight to see. And it says, verse 39, and when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces. And they said, Yahweh, he is Yahweh. Man, he is Yahweh. So they knew right then. Now here's the next part right here. And this is one of my favorite parts too. It says, and Elijah said unto them, take the prophets of Baal, let not one of them escape. And they took them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon and slew them there, slew all of them, slew all of them. Now, why am I really focusing on this, y'all? Because this is important to know that the Most High does not tolerate any kind of worship outside of the Most High. Y'all got to understand this, y'all. And when we bring it to these current times, but let me go to let's go to Exodus right quick, because I want to show you the thing that's always kept getting us in trouble. All right, let's go to Exodus 20. And all right, make this bigger right here. All right, what's the first thing the Most High says, y'all? It says, "Thou shalt not have no what? Thou shalt not have no." Did he say some? Did he say thou shalt just have no certain gods before me? Did he say that? Did he say that you can only have a few gods? He says, thou shalt, they says, thou shalt have no, y'all. What does that mean? What does no means? It means absolutely no other idols, y'all. No other entities. So thou shalt not have no other gods before me. What was so hard for our people to understand that? I mean, it just blows my mind. 7 captivities we've been in to this current day. What is it about this that our people, and we're still doing it, we're still doing that, we're doing it more blatantly now, because a lot of Baal worship is so hidden now, and I'm gonna tell you something, Baal worship is so ingrained in Christianity that so many of our people don't even see it. They go to these churches on Sundays, they think they're worshiping the Most High of Israel, but they're not. They're worshiping Baal in disguise and don't even realize it. That's the sad part. And then when you try to convince them, or when you try to explain to them what the errors of their ways, they jump on you. It's like the Bible says, do not cast your pearls to swines, or they will turn against you and rend you. That's what pigs do. My granddaddy raised pigs, and you can feed a pig, you can be nice to it, but that thing, pigs will turn on you. And I had a pig turn on me. I had to hit that thing upside the head with a shovel like 6 times. Those things will turn on you, y'all, when I was growing up. All right. Verse 4, Exodus 20. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them. What was our people constantly doing? And it's like it's sad because when the Most High would bring our people out of captivity, we would do good for a while, but then all of a sudden, it's like we just forget just so quickly. We just forget and go back to serving Baal again. It says, nor serve them, for I, Yahweh, am a jealous Yahweh, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth of them, generation of them that hate me. And past that. So look, you look at you look at our current time today. Where are we at, y'all? We have gone so far backwards. And we're looking at this thing. Let me show you something right quick. Let's go to and I'm going to show you that Elijah will return again. All right. Let's go to Deuteronomy and let's look at 28 and let's go to verse 48. I want to show y'all something here because I'm gonna show y'all what's still taking place amongst our people. All right. Let me blow this up, make sure y'all can see this. All right. All right, give everybody a second to turn there. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 48. Let's look at this. All right, here it is before our faces. It says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies with Yahweh shall sin against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. I don't have to explain that because you already know what that means. And he shall put a yoke of iron. This is what I need to pay attention to. He says, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck. Was there a time when we had a yoke of iron on our neck? Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we did during slavery. It says, until he have destroyed thee. This is still happening, y'all. The destruction part is still happening with our people. Now you may say, well, Elder, why you focus? Why you focus on the ones on the ones that the Most High is destroying? Why you focus on them? They're not going to keep it anyway. Don't worry about that. Why are you focusing on them? I'm gonna tell you something, brothers and sisters. The Most High looks at us as a whole, not as individuals. We are a unit as a whole. All right. Israel makes up a unit. So I'm going to prove that to you. When our forefathers went into the wilderness, do you think that because of the few that were faithful and everything, for the Most High to say, okay, well, I'm gonna just because of the faithful, I'm gonna ignore all the other foolishness and just let everybody else in. It doesn't work that way, y'all. It doesn't work. We are judged as a whole. We are our brother's keeper. So you damn well better be worried about our brothers and sisters doing wicked because they're part of the problem. That's the problem. And see, we want to ignore it. And the more we ignore it, y'all, the less it's going to go away. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we have to start holding our brothers and sisters accountable. And that's why you see a lot of people that are rebuking a lot of our people. You starting to see that. But just because the few that are keeping the laws, brothers and sisters, but then you have your knuckleheads out there, those are our people too. So the Most High looks at them too. Look, I'm judging you as a whole. That's just the way it is, Anna. I didn't write the word. So when the brothers wandered in the wilderness for 40 years, which was only supposed to be roughly 11 days, as it said in Deuteronomy 2:1, 11 days, y'all. But it took 40 years. It took 40 years because of some knuckleheads. But what about the few? What about the few who was keeping? What about the few? How come the Most High just didn't bring the few? separated the few, and then had them do like an 11-day journey, and then let the rest of them boys, just be bygones, because the Most High don't work that way, y'all. The Most High wants to save all of His people, not just some, all of His people. And the Bible says that the Most High is long suffering. So this is what you got to understand about the Most High, y'all. He is long suffering, and we still got a lot of work to do, because we're going to have to really train up this next generation, y'all. Whether you want to or not, you can play the fence if you want to, but it's just going to get worse if we don't continue to call our people out on wickedness. So y'all got to get that in your head, y'all. The Most High judges people as a whole, not by the few, as a whole. All right. And I just proved that to you. And just look at the wilderness. All right. Few of our brothers and sisters were faithful, but it was because of the knuckleheads that they had to wander for 40 years. So in other words, one bad apple spoils it for the whole bunch. That's what you get out of this. You don't just get you don't just get a portion. You gotta take Israel as a whole. You know what I'm saying? And so if a few knuckleheads are messing up for everybody, then everybody's gonna suffer. It's just the way it is, y'all. Y'all better get your heads on right. And this is why our people are going to constantly go through this destruction phase until the Most High has a remnant. All right, because He will have a remnant. However long that's going to be, we don't know. Whether it's going to be the next 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, we do not know. But don't focus on time, y'all. That's not what I'm here to say. Get this whole time frame, get it out your mind right now, because the Bible says, "Be faithful unto death." What we need to be focusing on is, being holding our brothers and sisters accountable and keeping these laws and commandments and statutes. That's what we need to be doing right now, and that's going to take a lifetime. I'm just, I'm just going to be straight up with you. It's going to take a lifetime for that, and it's going to take a couple of generations. That's just, it is what it is, y'all. But let's look at. I want to show you something, because Elijah is going to return. All right, and I'm going to do a study, a future study on the two witnesses. And for those who are preaching that the two witnesses are the southern and northern kingdom, are in error, because that is a false camp doctrine. It's not going to be the southern and northern kingdom. I heard some people say it's the Old New Testament. I heard all kinds of crazy stuff, but the Bible is clear, y'all. And I'm going to show you that Elijah definitely is going to be one of the two witnesses. All right, let me make sure I can see this. So go to Malachi chapter 4 and verse 5. Malachi chapter 4 and verse 5. All right. All right, y'all should be there. So let's get it open. Let me sure I didn't mute my mic. All right. Malachi 4 and 5, it says, "Behold, I will send you Elijah." It's not talking about, no, this is not John the Baptist, y'all. I've heard some people try to say this is John the Baptist. It's not John the Baptist. It says, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of YAHUAH." The great and dreadful day. Has that happened yet, y'all? Have we seen the great and dreadful day of YAHUAH? No, we haven't. We haven't. So it says, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of YAHUAH." Now let's see what Elijah is going to be doing. Now I don't know what kind of powers he's going to have, but we know that Elijah and Enoch were the only two who were translated without seeing death. All right, verse 6, and it says, "And he shall turn the heart of the fathers." I get that. He shall turn the heart of the fathers to their children. What's happening right now with our men, with our brothers? They're being incarcerated like crazy. All these private prisons that they're building were built specifically for the Negro Israelite men, to put them back into a modified slavery position. That's what they're for, y'all. This is why Israelite men will get charged for little for nothing for a crime. And then the court system, which is against our people, according to the 13th Amendment, which is against our people, they use that against us to give us more time and harsher sentences so that they can gather our people and throw them in these private prisons. So when you take the Israelite man out the home, that's total destruction. And they know that. The elites know this. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody, no other race of people on this earth can raise their children like an Israelite man can, especially if he's keeping the laws. Mm, all right. So let me read that again. It says, and he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. So right here, Elijah is coming back as one of the witnesses. But again, I'm going to do a future lesson on that, and you're going to see from the scriptures that it is not the southern and northern tribe. It's not the Old and New Testament, but Elijah definitely is one of them. All right. Now I'm going to show you something else. So we're going to get ready to go to Revelation chapter 8. So go ahead and turn your Bibles there. I'll turn here in the blue letter. So let's go to the book of Revelation in chapter 8. We're going to look at some of these trumpets because the Most High, he is getting ready to drop it like it's hot for real. All right. This ain't no joke, y'all. I mean, this stuff is going to happen. It is going to happen, but we're going to have to be patient, brothers and sisters. It might not happen in our lifetime, but we need to work out our salvation with fear and trembling. Now, I'm going to put this on the screen, but I'm gonna let you see this, but I'm going to be reading from the Sefer. All right. So let's start with. All right. So let's start with verse 6. All right, and I'll make sure I'll scroll up. Let me check something else right quick. All right. Everybody, pray to everybody. Yeah, you're right. This ain't playtime. I'm just looking at some of the comments before I start reading because I like to look at the comments and see who's on board and everything. Yep. He said the Most High ain't playing. He said this ain't. Let me see. This person right here said this ain't playtime. And you got that right. There ain't no playtime. The Most High is about to bring it, and all this stuff that's happening. Now, you know what, y'all, and the truth. I posted something. Y'all check out my community page. I posted an article on my community page that DOD is admitting that information has been leaked, that these vaccines are doing more harm. And I've been saying this stuff in the very beginning that this was the biggest test subject, ever done in humanity, and they got away with it, y'all. They got away with it, and everybody well, most of everybody fell for it. Majority of people fell for it, especially our people. They really, really fell for it. I mean, it's crazy. All right, so let's start with verse 6. It says, and I'm reading from the Sefer again. I'm reading from the Sefer. And the seven angels, which had the seven shofars, prepared themselves to sound. And I'm gonna show you who those seven angels were too. But I can go ahead and give you the name of those seven angels off the top of my head. Okay. And you have Uriel, it's one of the seven holy angels. You have Raphael. You have Reuel. All right. You have Michael, or Michael, Sarakel. You have Gabriel, and you have Remiel. But I'm going to do a future study on those angels and show you what specific missions they have and everything. It's going to be great, y'all. All right. So verse 6, and the seven angels which had the seven shofars prepared themselves to sound. Verse 7, and the first angel sounded, and there followed hail, and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of the trees was burnt up, and all the green grass was burnt up. Notice you're going to see it always says a third part, third part, third part. And you add all those parts up, y'all. That's a lot. All right. Verse 8 says, and the second angel sounded, and if it were a great mountain burning with fire, was cast into the sea. And the third part, again, third part of the sea became blood. I don't care what nobody says, this has not happened, y'all. You cannot prove anywhere historically or biblically that this has taken place yet. All right, let's go to verse 9. It says, and the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part, again, third part of the ships were destroyed. Y'all need to do a research on that third part because the Most High says that it's going to be a third that's going to be taken to the fire with his people. All right, let's look at verse 10. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of water. And see, if you think that this is not real, if you think that this has happened already, then I don't know what planet or what rock you was living under, because this ain't even near begun to happen yet. All right. I mean, this is crazy, y'all. Verse 11. It says, and the name of the star is called wormwood, and the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many of men died of the waters because they were made bitter. That's what wormwood is, made bitter. And verse 12, and I'm gonna leave off at verse 12. It says, verse 12, and the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. None of this has happened yet, y'all. But you got people going around saying that the four trumpets have sounded already. This is way in the future sometime, way in the future. You know what I'm saying? Because the Bible says that none of this stuff is going to happen until his people are sealed. The sealing has not been completed, y'all. We still going through our little destruction phase. And then we're going to start going through our healing phase. The Most High is going to start rising us up. All right? If we keep these commandments, statutes, and his laws. Let me prove that to you right quick. Let's go to, I believe it's Deuteronomy 30. Give me a second here. This is it right here. All right. Give you a second to get there. All right. How you guys doing in the comment section? All right. We all good? All right. You're right, RG. It's not that far off, but then it depends on what your perspective of time is too, because you got to remember, time for the Most High is not our time. So let's say let's just say that the trumpets fall in the next 50 years. Honestly, that's nothing, y'all. That's a very short time. You know, let's just say 50 years from now, the first trumpet falls. So half a century. What do you think that's to the Most High? That's nothing. That's just like a snap to the Most High. So people have different perceptions of time, and I think that's why so many people get anxious. They get so anxious and everything because in their mind they're thinking like the next couple of years. You got to get out of that mindset, brothers and sisters. You got to stop that. You can't think in terms of time with the Most High. You can't, because our time frame does not even begin to measure with his. You know, a day is as 1,000 years. I mean, a 1,000 years to the most. A day to the Most High is like 1,000 years to us. So when we're talking about in terms of time, yeah, 50 years, 100 years, 200 years is not a lot of time, y'all. 200 years. But just think about the amount of time from the time we went into captivity into this present day. It's not a lot of time, honestly, when you think about it. To the Most High, that's like a few hours. You see what I'm saying? So the perception of time is very deceptive in the way we think about time, because the way we've been taught about time growing up is not right. It's all wrong, y'all. And that's why I've seen so many people come into this faith and leave quickly as they came in, because their perception of their time frame of what they think it should be is misconstrued. It's jacked up, and we're gonna have to get out of that mode of thinking as far as time, because the Most High is not he is not limited by time, y'all, at all. So it's true. So when we say the coming is not far off, and technically it's not. Even in the apostle days, it wasn't, because what is the average life of a person now? Roughly what, 80, 75 years? And so in that lifetime, and James said that even that is like a vapor. Your life is like a vapor. So you could live on this earth for like 73 years, but to you, that might seem like a long time, but to us, I mean, to the Most High, that's that's only like a couple of hours, 73 years. So that's what you got to understand, brothers and sisters. So when we look at this whole thing about the second coming of the Hamashiach and everything, we can't think in terms of little spaces of time. We can't think in like years, like as far as 2 years, 3 years, stuff like that, because it's just gonna drive you crazy thinking about it. And then a lot of our people, they start sitting around. They're not trying to do like the Bible says, occupy until I come, or they're not trying to help better the next generation. We're still repeating the same stuff. We have children raising children. We're still having a lot of our men and women having children out of wedlock. We still having, you know, wars, and our brothers and sisters are going backwards and backwards. So this is what I mean, brothers and sisters. You cannot get weary in this faith. You can't, because the moment you start becoming weary, the moment you start um, becoming anxious. Oh, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Well, you can be sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's fine, but realize this. What are you doing with your time, this present time, before things happen, or whenever the Most High comes back? What are you doing with your time? What are you doing with your life? How are you? Um, what are you doing to contribute to the next generation, or to your family, to help us get back, or help Israel get back to the laws, commandments, and statutes? This is why me and my brother Aton, we spend so much time trying to teach people the laws, because this is the key, y'all. This is why this is so important. Now it's gonna take maybe a few generations to do that. So when me and brother Aton, we get old, and the rest of y'all, we pass away and we get buried, whatever, guess what? The next generation is gonna have to carry this work on. The next generation is gonna have to pick up the baton, and hopefully, our videos will still be around. The way things are going towards the metaverse and everything, I'm pretty sure our videos will be around. And let's say 50 years from now, somebody comes across our videos and they just pick that up and they learn from that and just build and start building on top of that. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to take some work, Zion. You can't build a nation up in just 3 hours. You can't build a nation up just within 10 years. It takes some serious time. All right. So get this whole concept mindset out your heads completely. Don't even when it comes to terms of the Most High, you can't even think about time, y'all, because time does not exist in a way that we think it does. You know what I'm saying? So I really hope that makes sense what I'm saying to you all, because it's sad, because I see so many our people get anxious. They get so anxious and everything because they think that the Most High is supposed to come back tomorrow or something, or in the next year, and it's like when nothing happens, it's like they start just running all over the place. And then now they're attaching to something else, and now they're losing faith. I had one somebody sent, I saw a comment, I had to delete it because it was just bogus. I mean, I saw a comment was saying, "Oh, I don't believe this anymore," and Well, you never believed it in the first place. You know, that's the problem. So that's on you. If you're that weak, and then it was never for you in the first place. If you're not serious about this, this faith is not for the weak, y'all. I'm just going straight up and say it like that. I can say that's mean, but it's not. You know, the elimination process, the elimination process is real. The shaking is happening, and the ones who are not going to be committed to the Most High will shake you out like wheat. He will shake you out and won't think nothing twice of it, and that'll be that. All right, so let's look at Deuteronomy chapter 30, and let's look at verse 1. Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 1. All right. And it says, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curses. Now we know all about the curses, right? I don't think one thing we don't know yet is the blessing because we hadn't lived in King David's time. So it says the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither Yahweh hath driven thee. All right. So we know that we are driven to the four corners of the earth. All right. Verse 30 and chapter 30 and verse 2. It says, and shalt return unto Yahweh, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children in all thine heart and with all thy heart. So the Most High are raising up servants. All right. I pray that, I could be a tool for the Most High. And like I said, my brother Aton, we get up on our every week on our combined channel, and we come to you with the scriptures, y'all. We don't sit there and just talk and throw out our opinions like most of these brothers do. We come with a mission. We want to see our people get back on track. All right. Of course, we know we don't have the power. The Most High is the one who was going to put the spirit on our people, but he has risen his people up to make the call. You know what I'm saying? So let's look at verse 3 of Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 3. It says that then Yahweh will turn thy captivity. Y'all hear that? It says that Yahweh will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither Yahweh has scattered thee. All right, y'all, it's simple. We just got to get back, y'all, to these laws, commandments, and statutes. And I'm just going to be honest with you, it's going to take time. Now, y'all might say, well, how come, how can that be when everybody's not on one accord? But that's not our problem to worry about. The Most High is going to fix that. He is going to fix that some kind of way. We don't know how he's going to fix it, but slowly but surely, he's going to have everybody on one accord. Now, me and my brother, we put out a calendar. We put out the 2022 calendar, and I guaranteed you, no one on the face of this earth, and I'm not trying to brag, I'm not trying to sound self-righteous, but I guarantee you, no one on this dusty flat earth has a calendar like that. Why? Because we took the time to dig deep into the scriptures, as the Bible has said, and to put the commands and precepts on our calendar so that you all could be the final judge, so that you all can determine, hey, this is legit. I'm going to study, but you have to study. You can't just look at a calendar that we put out for you and just try to go by circumstances. You're not going to understand it. It requires you to really study and dig deep. And me and my brother, we're going to be doing a lesson on this calendar each month, starting on the new year, the first day of the first month, which is going to be 20 March, on the Mind of the Brotherhood channel. And we're going to do a total of 12 lessons, but we're going to do each month, on the first day of each month, we're going to do a lesson on each of the months, so we can explain the calendar in detail to you all so that you can understand. And we was just talking last night, I was saying, and I was kind of making a joke. I said, it may take like 30 years for people to really to understand that. And even though I was kind of joking, but it's it could be a true fact. So again, brothers and sisters, it's gonna take some years. Our forefathers, when they wrote, they didn't write, and then things didn't happen overnight. It took years. It took some years, or it took several decades, for things to happen. So again, brothers and sisters, it's all about being patient and willing to learn. But at the same time, before all this stuff happens and the Most High comes back, we got to occupy, like the Bible says, we got to occupy until He comes. So you're going to have to find a way to contribute to your people by way of the talents that you have. You're going to have to become productive brothers and sisters within Israel. You got to become productive. Of course, you're going to have to take care and feed your family. All right. So if you already got a business, all praises to the Most High. If you already got land and you're growing your own food, all praises to the Most High. If you don't have those things, then work towards them. Start working towards them. All right. So so all I'm saying, brothers and sisters. So I'm going to end it here. I pray that you all edified, but I just wanted to show you, you know, the power of our Abba when we keep His laws, commandments, and statutes. And when the Most High dropped it like it was hot for Elijah, He's going to do it again for us in these coming days. When I say last days, of course, we are in the latter part, y'all. And just because when you hear the term last days doesn't mean that it's going to happen tomorrow, next year, next decade, or the next 50 years. You see what I'm saying? Because as I explained earlier, even 100 years is not a lot of time. It really isn't. It's nothing at all. You all going to just have to start planning um, your ways. Our enemies do it all the time, but we're the only ones that don't do it. We just live for the moment, and that's sad. We got to stop doing that. And that's why we keep going backwards, because we don't know how to come together. We don't know how to plan. We don't know how to budget our funds, and we don't know how to do things that's going to help better ourselves. So, and the Most High is letting us go through this so we can realize that. All right. So I love my people, y'all, and I pray that you all were edified. And I'll be doing more of these live lessons on my channel. I'd rather do these because it's better, because I know I don't have to worry about YouTube trying to take it off right away or anything. So, and with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom and continue to enjoy the rest of the new moon. And I say shalom and stay strong.